I recently have completed the mesh head conversion for the Alesis DM10. I had a couple issues I ran into that I had a hard time finding the answers to online. So I wanted to go over a few of those things. Now, if you remember in the conversion videos, there's a lot of them. There's different methods, and I really don't know which one's the best, and there are other things, but I followed a few different ones. So as you can see, I have the black ring on top, which I believe all the methods do. Then I have the pad. You can see the pad in the middle there. That was originally on top and flipped over. So that's the sensor right there. I think by flipping those over, you get more of a there's more trigger so that it vibrates better, so you can hear the triggers trigger better. Underneath, at the very bottom of this, there's actually a foam. There's the white foam, and then I went to the store and I bought some foam that was mentioned in some of the tutorials, and there is now a circular pad that is underneath that, and all that does is kind of push, kind of raises the pad even more, and it's very thin. It's about this, maybe about the thickness of a mouse pad, possibly a little bit thinner, and it just kind of raises, makes stuff a little bit tighter in there, so you can get even more of a bounce and a good feel for them. I'm not going to go through any of the tutorials because there's plenty of them out there. But one thing I don't think that was really mentioned in some of the tutorials, and maybe it was, but I couldn't find it. So it was the triggers settings. So I got the DM10 on here, and I'm going to click on external trigger. I just booted it up, and what you want to do is you'll originally be on your kick pedal. That will be the first one that pops up. You want to go down to sensitivity. I have it at 99. That is the maximum. As you can see, if you use your wheel here, it won't go past 99. I believe when you originally got the kit, it was probably somewhere around 60 or something, and that would work if you had the normal heads, because when you had the normal heads, you had the original, sandwich that had the sensor on top. And by putting the sensor in the middle, you've lessened the sensitivity of it, and it, when you hit it, it still has to go through this this black foam here. So you want to turn the sensitivity up. You might not necessarily need it at 99, but the way you can test it is you can hit, and I'm stepping on the pedal now. You can see it's not quite getting to the maximum. It's not quite getting full. So that's probably about where you want it, because you don't want it too low where it doesn't trigger, but you don't want it that you hit easy and it still maxes out. So now I'm going to hit the snare here. We're going to hit note chase. Note chase lets you, when note chase is enabled, it lets you hit the trigger, and the trigger will let you hit the pad, and that will change the trigger that the setting is. So I'm hitting my snare here, and I just have a 64 sensitivity because I don't need it maxed out. You want to be able to hit hard, and that's when it'll max out. You can see the meter there filling up. So when you hit soft, you still want it to be kind of low. However, on the toms, it felt a little differently. So on my snare, I maxed my snare out. I'm sorry, I didn't max my snare out. On the toms, I kind of maxed those out. So you got to play around with the settings to get them to sound like you would like, because the issue I was having, it seemed like everything was too low, and the snare was a little too loud. So, and I know you can mess with the the mixer there, but the bad thing about the Alesis DM10, those settings don't save. So each time you turn it off, you have to go back to the mix bank and mess around with it. Anyway, what you want to do on this is you want to go around to each one of your drums, and again, if you put that note chase on, you can hit each drum, and then you can just adjust them from there. So I'm going around hitting the different triggers, and they're changing. And you can see my cymbals. So if you look at my This is percussion 1 head, which is actually, I think, my ride, my ride cymbal. I just have it at 50. So you don't need to max out. You don't need to max out the cymbals. But I think on the toms, I believe I have them all maxed out as far as the head goes. And then you don't have to max out the rims, because those still function the same even before, or I'm sorry, after the mod. If you guys have any questions, you can leave me comments. I'll try to answer them as best as I could.